Black Adam actually came onto my radar when I was a kid. I love comic books, and I always gravitated towards Black Adam because he was one of the very few of the superheroes, supervillains, anti-heroes, however you want to categorize Black Adam. He was one of the few who looked like me. It was in the mid 2000s, maybe 2006, 2007, when we first started to discuss the idea with Warner Brothers of possibly making a movie based on Black Adam. It wasn't the easiest road because Black Adam was not one of the main superheroes that was world renowned and beloved. So it was a little bit of a challenge, and certainly I was in a different point in my career back in the mid to later 2000s. Certainly not in the position that I am in today to make a movie like Black Adam happen. So the talks back then were exciting, however, they really didn't go anyplace. But that did not mean that we ever gave up hope and faith that we were one day going to make Black Adam. I always knew that if we were ever to make Black Adam a reality, then it would require, I think, the hardest work that I've ever put in my life. And I've had the opportunity to work hard in the past. I come from a football background, University of Miami. We prided ourselves on being the hardest workers in the room, being national champions. I then transitioned in the crazy world of pro wrestling, where I was running around the world suplexing guys. But Black Adam is different and unique because you have an opportunity to introduce a character that no one in the world has a real reference to because he's never been on the big screen before. So you're starting from scratch. And I felt like if we're gonna start from scratch, then the kind of training I had to put in, I felt like Black Adam commanded the hardest work I've ever put in my career. And when I tell you I went to work, I went to work. I had been training now for months for the role. And when I tried on the suit, I hated it because it had all the muscle padding in it. And when you put on a suit, a superhero suit, and it is padded with muscle, it actually takes away all your hard-earned muscle that you have worked hard for. We finally came back with a suit that really just formed around my body. And the very first time I put that suit on, when it was time to rock and roll for our camera test, it was unforgettable. And I will never forget that moment, because in that moment, I became Black Adam. An anti-hero, in my opinion, kind of lives in that gray area, kind of lives right in the middle. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good. Sometimes the interpretation of the things that they do in their actions can be thought of as, that's bad, that's a villain. Or sometimes, which is mostly the case of me and how I was growing up and how I still am, is sometimes those actions that may be deemed bad are actually good and needed. And what's interesting, what I found in Black Adam is the world can view things as black or white, but in the middle, that gray area, there's a lot of color in that gray area. We found that with Black Adam. We have found that with Black Adam now that we have stood this character up on its feet and delivered a movie that we are now watching audiences watch. I think because of the edge, and that the characters of DC have edge. They have a little bit of darkness. Sometimes they have a lot of darkness. And that is, I think, one of the many reasons why DC has endured, is because, man, if you think about it, even in the early comics, from Justice Society, Justice League, etc., those early comics, they were swinging. And they were big swings, big world-building swings. And these characters that had some complex issues, complex stories, but big stories. And I love the edge. I've always loved the edge about DC characters. And I think the world does too as well. It was deeply important to me to film my Black Adam interview here in Hawaii because it's my home. And because this is where I grew up, and this is where the spirit and the mana is, and it flows through my body. And this is an important passion project to me. I am so deeply passionate. I'm passionate about a lot of things I do, about everything I do, but Black Adam was special. And also, and I know it sounds crazy, but Black Adam went through a lot of struggle to get where he finally got to. Here in Hawaii is where we went through struggle. It's much different these days in my life, and I could come back here and, we're bringing production back here to Hawaii, and I'm at a different point in my career, but many moons ago when I lived here as a kid, well, we struggled here. We struggled so much we got evicted off the island because we couldn't pay rent. So, and I know it sounds crazy, but it was important to me to come back here where I struggled, to talk about a movie that was so important to me, about a character that struggled bad, but he overcame, and he wound up galvanizing people around him.
Man, aka Carter Hall or Couture Hall, depending on what age and era we're talking about. Hawkman, he's a character who has the power to reincarnate. So back in his first life, back when he was an Egyptian prince named Khufu, he found this Thanagarian metal called nth metal that he realized he could use to negate or defy gravity and could fly. He could do a whole bunch of other things with this metal as well, which he found out later through the years. So for him, he used this metal, applied it as a warrior, applied it to his natural way of being. And as he dies and reincarnates through life, he's still journeying as this warrior. He still knows who he is. He collects and sort of finds pieces of himself, finds pieces of his history to hold on to. He is a warrior through and through. And I love the fact that he's just a man of fully fortified moral ethics. So we have Carter Hall, who's right now leading the JSA. He takes on different hosts every so often. So in this lifetime, we get to see him being hosted by Kent, good friend of Carter, and we get to see their budding relationship and their friendship shine through. And for me, it's pretty cool because Kent is played by Pierce Brosnan, and it's Pierce, 007. So yeah, it's just cool. And then we have Noah Centineo playing Adam Smasher. Adam Smasher is awesome because he's so funny, he's witty. He has the ability to smash atoms, change his physical form to grow as big as he can grow, and then shrink down. So we get to have a lot of fun seeing that, how it plays out, and then also just with Adam Smasher's attitude and coming up as sort of young. He's not, he likes to get into a little bit of trouble here and there, but he's funny, and I think that people are gonna love seeing this side of Noah. And then we also have Cyclone, played by Quintessa Swindell. Cyclone has this awesome power to just manipulate wind, create exactly that. Cyclones, tornadoes. She can just take a whole building and just whip it around with wind, and she's pretty awesome. And I get to, we're gonna get to see a character move in a way that we haven't seen before in terms of her, in terms of Cyclone's agility and Cyclone's capabilities with how, they move through the air. So that's going to be pretty cool. Visually stunning. We're going to see something we haven't seen before. Yeah, working with DJ is cool, man. He's got a great attitude, really good energy, always supportive, and it's nice to know that we're coming into this equally excited. You know what I mean? We're finding our way in this superhero space, and we're getting to just try a bunch of different cool new things. And our director is great for that because he's just got ideas for days. So it's been a real cool environment, man, for sure. Yeah, the way we've been coming at it, man, it's just, I feel like there's a real sort of camaraderie when it comes to highlighting the real attributes of these two characters, making sure that the fans, whatever we get into, are going to get something exciting. If they're fighting, if they're squared off, but also trying to build up, we're focusing on building up what their relationship is, the trajectory of their journey from beginning to end. Because they're natural adversaries who are both on the side of the good in their own ways, which kind of clashes. So it's like there's a strange mutual respect between these characters, but they're just always bumping heads. So this magnitude and this sort of scale of importance when it comes to the superhero world getting it right. We can go big all the time. So every time I see something, whether it's a car being flipped, an explosion, a fight scene that we have going on, us fighting in the air, all this kind of stuff, to me, it really is something that I'm lucky to be a part of and I'm lucky to see, because this is the kind of stuff, dreams are made of. It's kind of stuff that when people see people filming on location, they wait outside, their houses with cameras waiting to see this kind of stuff. We get a front row seat, and it really shows me how cool and how special this industry is, what we get to do, and how lucky we are to be in this position doing it with this kind of film. Yeah, everybody's fantastic, man. I mean, I love everybody's attitude, everybody's energy. I will say it again and again and again. The coolest thing is to be able to work with Pierce and see that, for all of his accomplishments and success, that he still is equally excited about this as we are. It's lovely to see Quintessa and grow into this and into this space, and see Noah as well, because they're in their 20s, man. Imagine being a part of a world like this, that young, like just the start of, that's amazing. You know what I mean? And everybody's attitude just kind of meshes perfectly, especially for what we need to get this film done and for the characters that they're playing. So it's just a bunch of love, man. And even beyond that, the rest of the cast, where everybody's on the same page about getting this thing done the right way. So for me, I feel fortunate, because that's kind of rare. It's pretty rare, and everybody's just really talented. I'm loving watching it. I think, for me, it's special being able to get to see the other actors perform and do their things, especially for the moments that, maybe we're not in the same scene, something like that, because they're rare moments, far and few in between. I'm mostly hanging in the air, but it's pretty awesome just because everybody's heart's in it, man. And I just feel like it's going to be a really special film. Everybody's putting in their work and, putting in full dedication. I feel like it's going to pay off in a big way. No, Jama is amazing. The shots that he's getting are incredible. And the shots that he's setting up, man, it's fantastic. And for me, the thing I love about Jama the most, is his demeanor, his candor, but he's also open. Like, if he has a good idea, he's like, oh, let's go try this, let's go do this. Or if I need another take, or if I want to push an idea, try to push something a little bit further, like if we're doing a stunt, it's like, hey, how about this? Let's make it more dynamic. Jama's right there with you, and I really enjoy that, because with a film like this, you got to have a massive amount of imagination, right, to push it to its full potential. And when you have a team that's ready to push with you, that only makes things that much easier, that much better. But yeah, he's the attitude comes from the top down, and I like that. Jama's very warm, and he comes in with a lot of great ideas, and he allows us to just flourish in our space. So for me, this has been a fantastic time working with the director. And, it's our first time working together, hopefully not the last. I was in New York. I was actually quarantining when I found out that I had gotten the job. So it was New York in September. And after quarantine, I started training on my own around like October. Aerial training, flipping, things like that. I grew up a martial artist. I was a competitive martial artist, but wasn't really self-aware in the air. So trying to, flip and backflip, front flip, and at the same time putting on weight, having to assess my whole nutritional plan, because when you're doing a body transformation, it comes down to like there's a science to it.
Well, his name is Albert Rothstein. And he is one of the new recruits to the Justice Society. His superpowers, I don't know if you'd be interested in knowing, but his superpowers are he can modify his molecular structure at will. He controls the density of his body and his bones, essentially, so he can get bigger and he can get heavier and stronger and faster. He sits there and he just locks in. He's got the entire film in his head. The entire film. Every single shot is in his head. He knows exactly what he wants. And he's funny too. I mean, the levity on this set, despite the stress that I'm sure everyone is under, Like I said, it just makes you feel comfortable. There's never a moment in the day that I can't go up to Jama and just like go to hold his hand as a joke, where he won't just like take my hand and like continue working like nothing, like he's not in charge of a massive film, you know. Like, it's incredible to meet someone that you've watched for almost your entire life. That moment is, we all imagine it. I think we always think, like, what if I met this person that I've looked up to or that I followed or whatever. And they often say you don't want to meet your idols or your heroes. And in the case of Dwayne, that it couldn't be further from the truth. From the first day he showed up, he's been gracious, he's been professional. He knows this script backwards and forwards. Like, this is his film, not just because he's The Rock, but because he found it. He was the one who wanted to make it. He's been developing it for over a decade, right? With $7 and Bo's company. They've been developing this for so long, and it shows, because he's on set. He knows almost everyone's lines. He knows every scene in order, chronologically, and he can sit there and talk and rewrite the entire thing from a producerial, from an acting, and from a writing perspective. Even from direct, like he is so good at what he does, and it just makes sense as to why he is one of the biggest names on this planet. And then beyond the professionalism, he's just kind and funny, and he doesn't shy away from conversation. You know, sometimes you meet people of that scale and that caliber of fame or success, and they just don't really have time, right? And yet he still finds time to make conversation with you and listen to you and joke with you. So what is it like working with DJ? It's been a learning experience, and a very fun one at that. I mean, to say the least. I love my suit. I think my suit is like the coolest suit of the groups. And I'm not just saying that. Like, if someone else had a cooler suit, I would say it. They don't.
There's a lot of history behind every line he says, and I notice, just when I'm watching him work, there's a lot of there's a lot of pain behind his eyes. The Black Adam character is someone who lost his family, and he's bringing, it's almost like he's haunted. He's haunted by the devastation of his family and the loss of what he had. And it's really beautiful to see the sort of, he's an anti-hero superhero, and the way he is bringing all of this pain, but he also juggles it in a way, it's kind of hard to describe, like it's super light at the same time. So it's like he has these moments where he can be really heavy, and it can be very sort of, haunting what's going on inside of him. And then there are other moments where he can be sarcastic as hell and throw a joke down in the middle of nowhere. And, it's like, I'm not sure how he compares to the other superheroes in that sense, but just sort of that ability to juggle both of those things that are also so opposite of one another at the same time, I think is really cool to see. He's incredible. He's going head to head with DJ, and he's worked incredibly hard. He's great as Hawkman. He brings a lot of he brings a regal presence to the role. And he is Black Adam's equal is Hawkman. So those are pretty big shoes to fill, and he's doing a beautiful job with it. There's no harder working person on this set in terms of the Black Adam movie itself than Jama. He knows the script forwards and backwards. He's a comedic genius. The ideas he comes up with, because a lot of times when it comes to the comedic parts of this movie, we're just trying things. We're throwing lines out there. We're improvising a bit, seeing if it works. And 99% of those suggestions that land are coming from Jama. I've never seen a brain be able to compute the amount of things that he's computing. So it's like, I have so much admiration for him. I told him the other day, I said, I just want you to tell your mother I'm praying for you because he's doing so much, and he's carrying this entire movie on his shoulders, and I think he's going to crush it. It's like, I'm not sure how this movie would come across in the hands of somebody else, somebody who can really balance those super serious moments with the super comedic moments on this kind of majestic scale. And the way he and Larry are shooting it, I mean, it's just, on top of that, I think it's just going to be visual eye candy. I think it's going to be so beautiful, you know, something so vast like Lawrence of Arabia, just the vastness and the scope of it all. To step on the Kondak set, and, you know, there was that Grand Bazaar, the set that we had. I mean, it's make-believe at its finest, you know? It's like when I was a little girl watching Indiana Jones and wanting to play in that world. Like, that's what I have now. I mean, it makes your job as an actor so much easier because you don't need to believe anything. It's right there in front of you. And they left no detail went unnoticed. I mean, there's, you know, in all the different stores in the downtown Kondak Center, like, all of them had names, all of them had items inside. There's Diba's Fashion with, you know, like the latest shoes in the window. I mean, it was sensory overload, you know, because you looked at around 360 degrees of you, and you were literally standing in this other world, and it's real.
There's Atom Smasher. He can grow up to really insane heights with super strength. There's Hawkman, who's thousands of years old, the leader of the JSA. There's Dr. Fate, there's Dr. Fate and there's Kent. Dr. Fate is like Hawkman, thousands of years old, and inhibits Kent. And he has the power to tell the future, teleportation, things like that. I mean, they're both so seasoned. They've just had like a lot of experience in film and television and just the industry of itself. So working alongside with them has just been like a learning process. There's so much that they can share, and there's so much that we can like benefit off of with just like knowing how things run, and also just having really great like scene partners. They're amazing. DJ is, you know, he's just incredibly seasoned. He's like driven and focused. They've been working on the story for like 10 or more years, so he's really dedicated to it and making it the best that it can be. And it's really awesome just having that influence over the project. Everyone just wants it to be the best that it can, so we're all just working in tandem with one another. So it's been great. He's amazing. Yeah, it's interesting because for prep for the movie, I was looking at a bunch of different comics that include Black Adam, that just like have him incorporated into the storyline. And for me, when I was looking at the character, I'm like, I don't think there's anybody else who could have like done it the way he would do it, and it just fits symbiotically. But yeah, it's great. He's like the leader of Kondak, and also like, well, I mean, like in other comics, like the leader of like the metahumans. So it's kind of cool, just like how it is also like outside of set, you know, he's like a leader and helps and just like takes everything into consideration. And so it's really nice working with like an actor who's, you know, yeah, they like take charge. It's really awesome. He's cool. I was just like so taken back. Like, he's so cool. We like a lot of the same music, and he's the first director that I've experienced to like play music before we shoot on set. So we'll just be in these like massive studios just listening to like Pop Smoke, and that's just like really awesome. He's great. He has like a really strong vision and a dedication to the story. And so working with a director who just has that focus and that all-around knowledge of the story and where he wants it to go, and like a really strong artistic vision for it too, has been inspiring. And also just I think it has influenced us to work as hard as we can to make it, you know, aligned with how he envisions the movie to go. I love Cyclone's like clothes. I think she has just like a really eclectic style. There's like a lot of influences of like the Wizard of Oz, like obviously with this monkey. And I just like the level of play that Cyclone has, even for her hero costume. There's an element of play with it. I know she accumulated all of these pieces from like a costume shop, and I think she has like a background in like theater and like a really strong adoration for the play Wicked. And so when she was creating like her look and everything, she just pulled all of these elements that she really loved, from like the Wicked Witch to, you know, everything in like Wicked or Oz. And yeah, that influenced a lot of her style. But I love it. It's cool. It's the first costume I've like worn so far that is just like completely comfortable. So yeah. Kurt and Bart, they're amazing. It was great just like getting into the first fittings and the array of clothing that they had picked out. Like there was a level of like theatricality to her clothes and how they were kind of seeing her. And it was just really nice being able to work with, you know, a stylist that, or two stylists that just like, you know, had like a lot of love for the character and wanted to make it the best that it could be. But then I just really admired too that there was no hypersexualization in the character whatsoever. Like, it was nice being able to play a young girl just as she is, with like, you know, play and fun, and she wears whatever she wants, and to have that validated on this type of level was just really, really nice. In LA, and she has like this cirque school, Aloysia Gavra, and she was amazing. She helped me with my flexibility. She helped me with a lot of these boundaries that I had prematurely put on myself, that I wasn't going to be able to move in a certain way that I wanted, or I didn't have like a very intensive dance background. So she really helped me, you know, kind of expand on what my body can naturally do, and then just really flowing with that. And there was a major inspiration that we had for Cyclone, and that was I hope I'm not butchering her name, but Loie Fuller. And she's this pioneer dancer from France, and she has these massive just, it's like sticks with fabric, and she would just move the fabric all around, and it would just create these beautiful, almost like butterfly-like type of movements with like pops of color and different things like that. So she was a major inspiration. And so when we got to set to do a few of the stunts, I was like, please let me do it, because I just have such a vivid idea of like how Cyclone moves. And the people that we were working with, the stunt team here, they were very complimentary of that. And I also have like an amazing dance double who's bomb and kind of moves in the same way too, of just making the movement very free and flowing and pulling from different influences, like traditional forms of movement and dance with like massive skirts. There was an element of capoeira that we used for movement that also incorporated flexibility. And Alvin Ailey, we were pulling some ideas from that. We pulled from traditional forms of like fighting, like wushu. Yeah, there's just like so much that we were like inspired by. So yeah, we tried to all like put it all in. And I think also we worked on whacking, which is like really cool to just like create that movement. So yeah, there's like so much.
Working with DJ has been, you know, I think he's really jealous of my body, honestly, like, and my ability to lift naturally way more than him. So it was a little tense between us, but after we got over that and he understood how superior I am athletically, we're able to have a great time, you know? But it was odd because every time I looked at him, I could see in his deep subconscious, he knew how athletically superior I am, you know? But otherwise, fantastic. We had a great time. The guy's full of jokes. As a comedian, I did not see that coming. You know, I heard that he was funny, whatnot, and he's just really funny. Because he has so many names. Like, yo, the first time we met, I'm like, what do I call you? Dwayne, are you DJ? Are you The Rock? And he goes, Daddy. I'm like, all right, well, that makes sense. And I just looked at him, I go, Papa? He's really fun, man, and we miss him. It was great. Hopefully one of many more to come. Everybody's so unique. Everybody's costume is so unique. I think they did a really great job doing that. It was so fun to see everybody dressed the way they are, and to walk around like, this is what we're doing today, is like, this is really cool. Oh, we're like family. They kind of, you know, we're just like immediately galvanized into this family situation. They don't leave me alone personally. I think they all love me way too much. They knock on my door constantly and pop it in my trailer, my house. I've had them all over so many times, and now it's like their house, and it's like we have sleepovers. It's like, what's up, guys? It's like, you know, because I'm the smart one. They got a house close to set, so they're like, hey, do you mind if I crash? No, we really are like family. We were so close. Pierce and I playing golf, having a great time. constantly, and just he's so funny. He's like such a goofball and really just such a handsome dude. Like, it's annoyingly handsome. And Noah's just like full of life, and Quintessa's so fun, and Marwan. Like, we're all really, really close. I'm not making that up. A lot of people probably say this, but I'm pretty sure they all sat here and were like, we love Mo because they eat all my food and they hang out all the time with me. Jama is a genius. Like, you know, a lot of people throw that word around sometimes and a little bit too much, but the man is an absolute genius, and I cannot believe how hard he works. Like, it's really inspiring. Like, I got emotional just thinking about it. Like, how, you know, first of all, whenever a director or anyone, but a director especially on this scale, believes in you is very exciting, because you always believe in yourself. You're like, I got you. You don't even know what you got. You know, like, you think you know, but I got so much more to give. And it's really exciting to see someone, or to feel someone that truly believes in you in that way. It makes you work that much harder. But he's like a brilliant man. Like, I don't know how he keeps it all in his mind the way he does. And I thought I was really talented at that, but I am nothing. He's so spectacular what he does. He's really gets the most out of you every time. He knows when to give you a compliment, which are rare. If he doesn't say anything, that's good news. Maybe. If he says you did a good job, that means you killed it. And if he said it's amazing, then you did a spectacular job. So, fortunate enough to hear all those three things throughout the shoot. He's just really great, man. I can't say enough things about Jama. Like, I want to work with him all the time. He just makes you feel at home. At first it was a little scary, you know, like, it's so much. We were the first week of shoot, and of course productions, their first week, especially on this scale, I would assume they're really stressful. So it was one of those things that you had to acclimate. But then after that first day, we were going right at it, and it's so fun working with Jama. And Larry, you know, like, they're just incredible. They're a great tag team. Like, what a lucky situation to be in, to work with people that know filmmaking so well. It's incredible.
Aman is a rebellious Kandaki, like, skater kid, and he's always looking for a chance to be a guardian, right? And the whole story, you can see him trying to fight his way into a heist, or like an event with his mom, who is a guardian. When he meets Black Adam in his room, he has a plan at this point, and he's trying to persuade him and trying to convince him, like, you have to save us, and you know you have loyalty to us somewhere deep down. Well, yeah, just being here again it's insane. I've never really imagined that I would make it this far, and especially being here with The Rock and Aldous Hodge and everyone. I'm super excited to work with them. Aldous Hodge has been an idol of mine for a long time. Same thing with Mo Amer and Noah Centineo. So, and then you have Dwayne Johnson, who in just about every field I've been a fan of his, from like football to wrestling to acting. It's just, I'm kind of blown away.
My life really is more dealing with painting these days, and then I kind of pack the suitcase and I come out on the road and make a movie, and in this case discovered these wonderful actors, Quintessa, Noah, Aldous. I'm deeply fond of and deeply impressed by their work. It really is so sharp as a knife and very precise, very focused. And so when my agent called me up there months ago, and I was offered this job, I was so overjoyed, so overwhelmed really, and I would look at these films and say, I wonder, will I ever be offered anything? Where will I fit in? Where will Pierce fit into this kind of proscenium arch of adventure films? And lo and behold, here I am now playing this legendary, iconic character, Dr. Fate, with these magnificent actors. And of course, leading the whole charge is Dwayne Johnson, you know, The Rock. And I've watched him create this monolithic career for himself and a presence on the stage of cinematic history, and giving so much of himself to the world of entertainment and the community at large. It's exhilarating to be on the stage every day, to walk onto the stage and wonder what the sets are going to look like. Tom Meyer, the production designer, has really created a unique world, and there are sets that I've never seen the likes of. And having done and been in the business here and played James Bond, these sets are really spectacular. So it's exhilarating. It's beyond my wildest dreams, really. So you have this great actor, Dwayne Johnson, this great presence, this great personality, this man who's really hitting his stride with this character, and I know he's had such a deep passion to make this film for many years now, and he really is just taken the bull by the horns and will surprise the world and just entertain the world. And of course, you know, then you have the mocap suit. You have the mocap suit. Oh, that's a story all unto itself. So to create my character's look, Dr. Fate, it's all digitalized. So I have to get into this ridiculous outfit, which is covered in white dots. It's tight, it's gray, it can be highly embarrassing, but thank God I grew up in the theater and worked in the theater, did pantomime, street theater, circus work, so I can step out there, hold my head high, and hopefully they will make me look magnificent, elegant, kind of mystical piece of alchemy and armor. And you know, when you see the silhouette and you see him out there, and I've seen a little bit of myself on the screen, it does have a power and an elegance to it.
In the kind of movies that I have done in the past, I like characters of that kind of like walk that fine line between doing the right thing and doing what needs to be done. So I was attracted to that, and I immediately saw a character that was very similar to some of the characters played by Clint Eastwood in the 70s, where in a time and a place where the system breaks down, that character was able to bring justice in ways that other people were not able to do. So I felt like I hadn't seen that character in the superhero space, and that to me was very exciting. Honestly, just wanted to tell his story. I mean, my main objective was just to make it a Black Adam movie and to offer the fans a clear understanding of why he is the way he is and what happened to him, you know. So in the movie, we're also introducing other characters with the Justice Society that's, for extra superheroes, which is not very usual in a superhero movie. Usually you go just introduce one by one and then they all come together in another movie. So for me, the big challenge was to still make it a Black Adam movie while introducing other superheroes, which are amazing and they deserve their space, and people don't know them that much, so they deserve to be introduced properly. So there was a lot of things going on in the script, and my main goal, to this day, is to make it a Black Adam movie and that we understand his journey. In Black Adam, he just has this extra layer of complexity, and I think that really comes from the fact that he's been waiting for so long to play this role, and there's so much expectation that he just really prepares extra hard for the role and really thinks about what he's gonna do. Black Adam is a character that doesn't really speak much. doesn't really, he's a bit distant. He's a little bit, he doesn't interact, he's always kind of floating. He's comes in fast, leaves fast. That's not something that he's been doing in other movies. In other movies, he's been a lot more charming, a lot more, with a lot more dialogue, intensive. So in this one, I think that he was very comfortable doing that and playing that side of him as well. That's one of the interesting parts of our movie, as it kind of thematically talks about what makes a hero, or who has the right to define what justice is. And I think that I wouldn't call Black Adam's moral code questionable. I would just say that his moral code is just not maybe up to date with the times that we live in, right? So, I mean, this is a guy that was born 5,000 years ago, where things were very different. So he's a no-nonsense kind of a guy that just does things his way for what he believes is right. And when he meets somebody like Hawkman, who has a very strict and very defined justice and moral code, they are kind of at odds with each other. But they're both, two sides of the same coin. And through the movie, in that argument, the audience is put in the position to understand both sides, and we never tell them like who's right or who's wrong. I think that in a complex world that we live in, you need both. We have Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Cyclone, and Atom Smasher. Hawkman and Dr. Fate are two of the oldest members of the JSA, founding members per se. And Cyclone and Atom Smasher, they're newer members, and they're almost like, in our movie, they're almost like new recruits. So it's the first time that they go out on a mission. And so in the team, you have that dynamic of the senior versus the new recruits, and they have to learn to work together.